Welcome back to Chris Greenhill's Garage. I'm the only Chris Greenhill that's going to be in this video, as the other Chris Greenhill is off doing things, having a social life, going to school, working, things like that. Although it must be in my wife's truck because his car is still here, which means I'm going to use it as my runabout to run errands, but that's not the topic of this video. What I want to do is I want to get these tailpipes back on the black car, Project Piece of Stang. If you missed it here recently, I got these tailpipes dirt cheap. They are 2.5-inch tailpipes of some sort, and they're really super short. I don't know what's going on with them. They were one piece. They look like they're factory, but they didn't even reach the bumper of Project Piece of Stang. They hung out under the car, so it was really weird. So I went and stretched them, lengthened them, modified them myself, and I thought I had done a pretty good job, and I thought things were going all right. Pardon the mess. I'm finally trying to clean up my garage so I can get the white car back in here, park it in here so I have more parking, but things are not going so well. Back to the tailpipes. When I put these in, this passenger side this driver side tailpipe was essentially perfect. This passenger side tailpipe is not. It was going up and it was hitting the control arm and the chassis and the frame of the car, and you can see here the reason for that. When you line these up flush with the muffler, you can see the angle this comes back at. It does not look all that much more extreme than the other side, but clearly something's off. This whole thing was hitting. Whereas if it leaned forward like that, it would not. I'm not really sure what went wrong because I did not modify the back half of this tailpipe. I'm not sure if that's always been an issue or what, because the tailpipe is dented up there, and I did not do that. Currently, this car has some straight through bullet mufflers that I put on a few weeks back, and I like the way they sound, but I really want to get the tailpipes on them. Unfortunately, the bullet mufflers that are on here, if you missed it, don't line up properly. They have a leak. The flow tubes are crooked. They supposedly came off a Mustang, but they are not properly angled and cut for a Mustang. The flow tube is angled where if you line it up perfectly straight, it hits the drive shaft. If you angle it out where it's supposed to be, then it doesn't seal properly. So those are going to have to come off as soon as I can get you out of the way. I currently do not have any extra flow tubes, and I had intended to cut these off these mufflers, but it turns out these are apparently first generation unbranded Mac flow path mufflers from the early 90s, and now I no longer want to do that. And despite preferring the straight through mufflers for sound right now, I actually think I want to put these back on the car because of their collector's value. And the black car currently has old school Mac short tube headers and a Mac Pro Chamber off-road H-pipe, or it's not really an H-pipe, it's a Pro Chamber. I kind of want to keep the complete set together. I forgot that I have these perfectly serviceable Flowmasters sitting around, but some jerk cut the ends off the flow tubes, so I need new ball and socket joints to hook them up. Kind of Flowmastered out right now though. Not really wanting to put those on right this minute, even if the flow tubes were complete. Let's see if we can get the little white trash pony to start up and move. See how long it takes the QFT carburetor to hold an idle and get rolling. That'll have to be another video here soon, as Junior and I have to rebuild that thing. Jeez, just spider webs everywhere. Has it really been that long? Good grief. So hot in here. I've got to get the windows in this thing working. And the door won't stay open. This will be fun. Please make this as quick and painless as possible, please. No, you got to be kidding me. We can't be dead. Oh my God. Come on now. idled, backed out, pulled in this parking spot without stalling or needing to be restarted for the first time ever. But my God, it's so rich, my eyes are watering. This carburetor needs rebuilt so bad. And of course, this one isn't gonna give me any trouble. It just starts, idles, runs, does the things all day, every day. God bless this Edelbrock carburetor. Just 2 pumps of the throttle and magic. I do legitimately like and enjoy the sound of whatever these generic straight through mufflers are, but until I can get my tailpipes on them, I'm going to put my max back on, and I'm going to use my max to figure out how to get my tailpipes on. If you missed it before, these straight through mufflers that I got, the driver's side is fine, the passenger side is all jacked up. You can see where I've tried to bend it into shape, but there's no way to get this to seal. For starters, these are 2 1/4 inch, 2 1/4 flow tubes for some reason, and they don't want to seal. But also this passenger side has to be mounted almost straight back to get it to seal, and it hits the drive shaft. So I've got to fix these flow tubes when it comes off. Never really noticed how extremely tight the space is here for an exhaust pipe. And the problem with mine was it was coming up here, hitting this and hitting this. So I've got to try to find a way to snake it through there somehow. The other side is no problem. My transmission is absolutely dumping fluid out the rear seal for some reason here lately. Gonna have to look into this someday. Things are a little damp under here, but for now we're just gonna consider that preservation juice because it can't rust if it's coated in oil, right? I really do like these straight through mufflers, but you can see the extreme angle differences I'm dealing with when I lay them on top of each other, and it's almost like somebody tried to compensate for this, but they didn't do a good enough job, mostly because this back piece is crooked. If it was on straight, it'd probably work, and I might even be able to get the tailpipes on those things, but I need to cut and or bend or something those flow tubes really bad. When laid end to end, you can also see the length difference in the flow tubes. Yeah, those flow tubes need to be cut quite a bit shorter. I think I might mark those. You can see how much longer they are, where the hanger differences are. I might be able to just fix these by simply chopping this and bringing that back to there and making it the angle that I want. Yeah, these things, that's how long they are in comparison. That's another issue I'm having with fitment. You know, I wonder if these 2 1/4s will even mate up flush and seal on that Mac Pro chamber at all. Feeling kind of froggy. I think I want to find out. Wow, I am just now noticing how horrific this welding is. Holy crap, that's terrible. I feel so much better about my welding abilities now. All right, I cut this off with this booger weld. I just noticed this appears to be 2 1/2 necked down to 2 1/4. I may just make another cut off here, slide that in there and sleeve this. But first, let's see if this will fit. Geez, it is close. A couple of millimeters one way or the other, and it leaks, but I think it will seal if this is perfectly straight. But I'm not fond of it. I don't like it. The cup needs to be bigger, needs to go around this. I may have to just get new cups. I just got back from the parts store ordering some 2 1/2 inch cup flanges. They'll be here in the morning. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut these flow tubes off both these mufflers and get them ready to readjust them for tomorrow. I think I'm actually gonna end up having to cut them even shorter to fit these things, to shorten them to length. But I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the flow tubes off the mufflers completely and go from there. I got the flow tubes cut off, separated from the mufflers. I took the hangers off also so I can put them where I need them. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on getting the new cup flanges on this, cutting these down, making these the proper length for the Mustang, and I'm not going to weld them back on. I'm going to make adapters where I can use these flow tubes on other mufflers and kind of play around with them a little bit. That way I can leave the Mac flow tubes alone. But I guess I'll come back to this tomorrow. It's the next morning and I have exhaust things. It's time to get cutting and welding and try to get this thing back together. These new exhaust flanges fit how they're supposed to. True 2.5s. Good deal. All right, I think I have these cut to length. They're about where I want them. And I think I'm ready to tack those back together. Hello, little cat. What are you doing, buddy? Yes, I see you. All right, time to get the welder out. If you're watching this, I'm going to advise you to grind down all this metal, all this coating, all of this till you get nice, bare, shiny metal to weld on. Do as I say, not as I'm about to do, because I'm going to do none of that. If you choose not to prep your surfaces like I choose not to, your welds will look like trash like mine do. But, I mean, it'll hold. And definitely don't do things like weld through stickers. Take the time to remove them. I am an absolute trash welder. But look at this, compared to what was on the car. I am Leonardo and Michelangelo in comparison to the person who welded this garbage. Bought a couple of these 2.5-inch exhaust adapters. I'm gonna cut them in half. Cut in half, weld them onto the muffler so I can put the flow tube in it. Wow, there are days I'm surgically precise with the cutoff wheel, and then there are days like this. Pure trash. Good grief. Sort of did not exactly get this on straight, so I'll have to angle and finagle that under the car a little bit to go where I want it to go. Oh well. If you choose to weld through stickers, you get some minor fire issues. No biggie. I went to paint over some of my welds just to keep them from rusting out, and I'm glad I did. Spraying the paint in this, I could hear an echoing sound, and I had all sorts of little pinholes in here that I couldn't see where the metal wasn't completely sealed. So I went inside and welded everything shut from the inside, and now there's no more light transmission. So we're good. And I'm glad I did that, because this one has an ever so slight little pinhole somewhere. I lost it. Anyway, I'm going to go back and seal this all up from the inside also. Well, I'm glad that happened while I was painting. That let me go in and reinforce those flow tubes from the inside and seal them up. I think I can adjust these and angle these enough to make up for the offset, and hopefully I'll be able to line up the tailpipes with these other mufflers now. They're pretty close. I'm gonna have to weld an adapter on the end of these and do a little more cutting and stuff, and I might have to angle them just a little bit, but I think it'll be pretty close. All right, I think I'm ready to go in there and try to test fit these with some muffler clamps, see if I can get them lined up, and then I can figure out where to put the hangers on them before I weld them on exactly. We'll figure out exactly where they need to go. All right, well, the mufflers are in there. The hangers aren't welded on yet, but they're tight enough, they're hanging in there. And that's the easy part. Got the flow tubes, got the mufflers attached, and now I have to go do the much harder part. Gotta try to figure out how to get these tailpipes in here properly. This passenger side tailpipe is gonna be the real challenge. That's the one that's giving me all these fits. I forgot that I've got to jack up the frame of the car and let the rear end hang just to get the tailpipes in place. All right, I'm test fitting this passenger side tailpipe. Becoming pretty obvious. I'm gonna have to chop it up and re-angle it a little bit, because if I get it If I get it where it fits in here, doesn't hit the suspension and clears everything, then it hangs, I don't know, 8 inches too low here, so I'm gonna have to cut and re-angle this thing. I think I'm gonna go ahead and mount the hangers on the mufflers, get the mufflers set, and then go on and adjust things from there. Everything's set to go on the driver's side, except both exhaust hangers are too short. Those mufflers are a little smaller body, and I need something larger. I thought I had some metal tubing around here I could use, but can't find any, so I guess I'll have to wait till I go get my daughter from school, and I'll go by the parts store and see what I can find. Yeah, I've played with this a whole lot more, the passenger side, and it's definitely gonna have to be cut and readjusted and re-welded. I think I just found the solution to my muffler hanger problems. What fine craftsmanship. I got the new muffler hangers welded onto the mufflers. Pro tip, if you heat something up with a welder to thousands of degrees, especially a sharp piece of metal, then rake your hand down it, it will cut you really badly. Think a hot knife through butter. Ask me how I know. The driver's side is in, looking pretty good. Hangs about 1/2 inch lower than it used to, but we had some geometry changes. But I mean, it looks good, and it's clearing everything, at least while the suspension is down. Here's a side view of that pipe sitting in its happy place. That's gonna be a problem going down the road. I'm sure I did this. I need to cut this and re-angle it up, turn this. Just probably gonna have to lift this whole thing up somehow. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do, because if I lift it up, we start hitting the frame again and the control arm. I'm pretty sure this pipe has to come all the way out. I'm gonna have to seat it with just this part in it, get it bolted in place, get it set, and then I'm gonna have to adjust some piping over here somehow to fix it. It's pretty apparent that I made this slope way too far down, and then compensated previously by jacking this up and hitting everything. And I have to leave in a minute, but I'm gonna fire this thing up and see what it's gonna sound like with the new mufflers. That's a 900 RPM idle right there. Sounds pretty good. That's almost as loud and rowdy back here as the open mufflers, while not as loud and rowdy up here. I'm digging it so far. No exhaust leaks underneath. That kind of ticking sound you hear is just, that's the inside of the pro chamber. It's just kind of its thing. But I checked everywhere. There's no exhaust leaking anywhere. I have to go get my daughter from school, and then I guess stop by O'Reilly's and get one freaking muffler clamp because I can't find it, and then come back and start chopping on that thing over there, my special needs tailpipe. Hello, little cat. With the suspension at normal ride height, jacked up all the way, both tailpipes are clearing. The mufflers are clearing. Everything is sitting normally except this. So I'm gonna have to cut that off. Or I'm gonna take it off and try to bend it. I don't think that's gonna work. Then I'm gonna have to cut on it and do some major surgery. I tried bending this thing. It just isn't gonna work. I don't have any way to bend it strong enough. So I'm gonna start by cutting here, put this piece back on the car, and go from there and just try to figure it out. I was most of the way cutting through this thing, and then I thought to myself, can I just pie cut this? What if I just take some material out of here and bend the whole thing back and weld it up? So I'm gonna try that. Now, some of you might be saying, well, you should go and you should do some geometry and some maths and figure out the angle. No, I'm just gonna cut some and see what happens. Big old slice of pie cut out of it, and I've already compressed it, and let's go see what I can do with it on the car. I've got everything tightened down. It's in position here. Nothing's hitting. This side is fine, and this is what we have for a tailpipe angle. That's horrible. I think I need to cut this off completely and go ahead and start it over from scratch. It just doesn't look right. I have really screwed myself over. I did not realize that the flow tube slipped out of the muffler right here to the very end. I went and crimped the clamp down, and it crimped the pipe when the muffler wasn't in the clamp, and now I can't get it to go back in there. I've heated this thing up cherry red, tried to bend it, hammer it, I've tried everything. I think I'm just gonna have to cut this off and start over. So I went back to Old Reliable. I cut slits all through the area that I crimped, got pliers, opened it up, and now that it's back in one piece, I'll put the clamp on it, tighten it down, and try to reshape it that way. We are back in business. I don't have much daylight, so I got to get back out there and try to get this on and get the tailpipe going. Except that I knocked off my muffler hanger because I am my own worst enemy. My own worst enemy. My God, I did all of this, got all this fixed, welded on the bracket upside down, then I had to beat it off and chisel it off, grind it, cut it. Took forever because, believe it or not, my last set of welds actually held, were really strong, and I finally just got it welded on correctly. Now I can finally get it back on the car half an hour later. So, after all the cutting and the grinding and the moving and the going insane and the modification and the going insane and hating my life and going insane, I'm almost right back where I was before I did the pie cut by just angling things a little bit differently. It's kind of looking like I didn't actually have to cut this pipe off to do this. My own worst enemy. I've had enough. I'm filthy, dirty, covered in welding slag, and I'm angry at myself. I'll come back tomorrow and finish this. Somehow I've lost one muffler clamp. I don't know where it's gone. I'll have to get one when I go get my daughter in a few minutes. The good news is that with the pipe sitting right here at this angle, it clears the control arm, it clears the chassis, it clears the brake lines, it clears everything. It's sitting right like that. The bad news is it's also aimed 10 inches below the car, so that's not good. It's the next day. It's not even really early the next day. I'm not exactly motivated to deal with this. I sent Junior a video clip of the car idling yesterday and noticed there's an exhaust leak somewhere over here. So I've got to try to take that tailpipe off and figure out where that's going. And then, of course, I still have this nightmare to deal with. Couldn't really videotape it, but I re-welded this, ground down the welds, light checked it, put a light inside the pipe, shine light on the outside of the pipe. Couldn't see anything, so hopefully it's good to go. And now back to the thing I want to do even less than what I just did. So much tightening and loosening and adjusting, but I think we're set up here and I think I'm ready to weld this together. I sort of have it tacked up on the bottom. I'm going to use one of the pie pieces that I cut out of it to try to patch it up on the top. I want to make it strong enough where I can pull this out of here and take it to the workbench to finish welding. It's not there yet. Sitting here under its own weight now. I'm going to take it off, get it to the workbench, try to patch this up, you know, because I don't really like welding this close to the gas tank, but I didn't really have a way around it. Here's that tailpipe out. This is what I'm working with. Kind of have a little patch going here. See if I can get this welded up. All right, well, here's the other pipe. I went over it numerous times, double welded everything, overlapping welds. Should be good and strong. I shoved the light down it. I can't see any pinholes or any light coming through it, just like I did with the other pipe. And I you can't really pretty this up. This thing's pretty nasty, but I polished it out, smoothed it out as much as I could, at least on the outside, where you're gonna be able to see it. That muffler popped off again. That broken end piece down there, I just can't get it to seal. I think I'm just gonna cut it off and start from scratch. I'll go get a new one here in a little while when I go get my kid. Also, I'm thinking of a new color for the tailpipes. I don't know if I'm gonna go gloss black, like super shiny black. Might see if I can find a high temp, like hillbilly chrome of some kind. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go look at colors later. Turns out that I had a can of hillbilly chrome sitting around. The stuff I used on my Edelbrock intake. The same stuff that has never actually dried after a year and a half, whatever it's been. But I decided to go ahead and just throw it on here and just see what happens with it. If I just hate it and it won't stick, I'll put them back to black. I'm gonna let them dry for a couple hours while I do some other things. I went ahead and cut that adapter off this muffler. It just wasn't gonna work out. I'll go buy a new one here in a little while, weld it on, come back, see if the tailpipes are dried, and try to get this nightmare back together. A couple hours later, oh, it's actually drying on this surface. Yeah, it's actually dried. Man, you can still grab my Edelbrock intake to this day and touch it and get silver paint all over you. Not sure what's going on with that. I'm finally back. I got this new adapter welded onto this muffler. It's longer than it was. It's quite a bit longer than it was. Hopefully it's not so long that it throws off the geometry of the tailpipes, but I was getting pretty frustrated with it, so I just left this thing full length. Let's see if it fits. Much better. It's 100 times more secure. I should have used the full length sleeve the whole time, but I was trying to save money, so I cut them in two and just welded half of them on each. Oh well, lesson learned. Well, I have it all back together except one muffler clamp. I cannot find one of the muffler clamps, and I don't know why. Not beautiful. Let's see what it sounds like. This thing sounds a lot better live and in person than it does on camera. Yeah, camera doesn't do it justice. But if I can find that one missing muffler clamp, I'll go on a test drive. I'm about to lose my mind because I have no idea where it went or why I would put it anywhere. Found the muffler clamp, thought I was ready to go, but upon putting this thing back up to ride height, I've got some clearance issues with the suspension again, so I've got to adjust it. A very long time later, and I've finally got everything adjusted where it doesn't hit at ride height or with the suspension dangling. This one, out of the blue, all of a sudden started trying to hit the tire for the first time. This one's got tons of clearance everywhere. This became my problem child for the first time. But it's finally time to get it on the ground and drive it. All right, here it is from the outside. My God, that pipe hangs so low to clear everything. That is insane. That's gonna hit speed bumps and stuff. You know what, I'll have to mess with it again someday. Maybe I'll get new tailpipes soon. So far, just in the neighborhood, it's a little more subdued. Not a huge difference from the Mac chambered mufflers. Let's see how it does on the open road. Seems to be a lot less drone from the mufflers cruising. I can hear the rear end whining again a lot better. See, I let out the gas and it's quieter. Give it gas, there's the rear end again going crazy. But the mufflers aren't bad. I can tell it's loud, but all the sound's going out the back. I've got a rattling in the rear end suddenly out of the blue after several miles. I have a feeling something is shaking loose and is rattling on the frame again. This thing just broke the tires loose on a third gear hit from a roll. And pavement's hot. It's a hot Texas day. Jeez. These last couple of times we broke the tires loose, it seemed almost like something broke. Maybe the traction control isn't working, or the traction lock. Yeah, the traction lock isn't working. Maybe all the power went to one tire now all of a sudden, and that's why it's getting so squirrely. But it definitely feels like it's hitting a lot harder than it was. Might actually be on fire. I better go check. No fire. Crisis averted. Just a bunch of transmission fluid out that rear seal on top of the Mac Pro chamber, which got a little warm, so we're good. I'll fix that one of these days, or the transmission will run out of fluid or something. It'll be fine. Anyway, like I was saying, I would love to think, oh man, the new open exhaust, the engine's breathing, it's just a perfect day and it's just ripping. But it's never just shredded the tires out like that in third gear. If it hadn't gone sideways, I'd have thought we had clutch spin, but we were definitely getting squirrely. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm sorry this turned into such a long ordeal. I thought this was going to be a very short, quick video. Hey, check it out. I'm going to put the tailpipes back on and make new flow tubes. Coming up, we've got a couple of things to do to Junior's convertible, and then here soon, once it's cool again and not 95 degrees at the end of October, I think I'm going to either find a new rear end or swap rear ends with white trash or something, because I really want the black car back on the street full time. And I'm convinced this rear end is going to blow up any day now. But anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate it.